So my October 2022 update on bank accounts is going to focus mainly on bank switching because there are a number of new and improved deals to share with you that can make you a nice bit of cash over the coming months. Before we get into that though, I want to quickly touch on a couple of app outages that have happened in the last week with Chase and with Metro Bank. Now, these things can and do happen to any kind of banking app. I'm sure there are some that have never gone down. Sometimes things will go down for an hour or two. But these ones were quite significant and they've gone for a couple of days. The Chase one in particular, I know a lot of you guys have got Chase accounts because of the various deals they've had over the last year since they launched. The £20 welcome bonus, the 1% cash back, the 1.5% interest on savings, the 5% interest on roundups. All good reasons to have had the account over the last year. But you couldn't get into the app at all. Now your debit card would still work, your direct debits would still come out of the account. But there were problems obviously if you couldn't get into the app because maybe you wanted to transfer some money out, particularly when it comes to use it as a savings account. Maybe you had to approve an online payment. You couldn't open the app to do that. Of course, then maybe you could sort of do a different way. But again, that's going to be a frustration. And one of the big problems with this, what I found as well with Chase, is that if you need to make a payment with your card, the card has nothing on it. There's nothing written on it in terms of number. You have to go into the app to get your card number. So that way you couldn't pay with it at all if you were using things online, unless you'd already saved it into your browser or to PayPal or something like that. So this is a reason I'm telling you, it's been fixed now, it's all working okay, but this is just another good reminder of why I always say, have more than one current account. Do not just limit yourself to a single account. When things go down like this, we had it with Virgin Media earlier this year, we've had it in the past with TSB, we've had it with a lot of the big banks as well, even if it's for a short time, things have gone wrong. If you've got a different account at a different bank, which has some money in it as well, then at least you can spend and pay bills and transfer money, or money can be transferred to you if you need to, okay? So absolutely, just a good reminder, I've got a whole video taking you through why you should have more than one bank account. This isn't the only reason, but it's a reason. Have more than one bank account with money in more than one of them. And also with Chase, and this is a current account video, obviously that comes true of savings as well. Having all your savings in a single account can be risky. Even if it's the highest paying one, I would still have some money in a different savings account, whether it's a current account with high interest or a normal savings account, just so you can get it if you need to, right? Let's move on to the good news now, and these bank switching bonuses are some really, really big amounts of cash you can get from them. Before I do that, I want to quickly just remind you that these offers do come and go, they change. That's why I do a monthly update of these every single month. So you might want to hit subscribe if you haven't already, so you find out what's happening in November, December, and so on with different current account offers and deals. But I also want to direct you to the blog, becleverwithyourcash.com/banks. That is my ultimate guide, updated every time there is a change on all the different switching offers, all the other reward offers, the overdraft offers, any kind of deals you get with a current account, they are listed there, particularly with the terms and conditions. I will talk about some of the terms and conditions right now as we go through them, but you need to make sure you read in detail all those bits and pieces. It's just a quick intro so you know what is going on. And let's start with the biggest one. This is £200 from Nationwide, just for switching, double the previous offer. I've not, as far as I can recall, seen a switching deal this high before. Maybe things combined with different deals and different ways of doing stuff. But in terms of just cash, just getting it for just for a switch, you cannot beat this. And there is the potential that you can get this not just once, but maybe 3 times. Because this is the only bank switching deal that I know that has been running that not only gives you money for switching your personal account, but gets you money for switching your joint account. So if you have got a relationship with someone, you've got an individual account each, you switch both of those, that's £200 each, 400 in total, and then you switch your joint account over as well, another £200, 600 in total. You cannot beat this in terms of money from a bank. There are of course some rules, as I said there would be. This one is open to new or existing customers, but you have to have the Flex account, the Flex Plus account, or the Flex Direct account. If you haven't got any of these right now, I would go for the Flex account. It's a free account, the standard account, nothing fancy about it. That's probably a great one in order to get the cash. You have to transfer over 2 direct debits. These have to be active on the account before you make that switch complete. So that's about time you can do it within the first 30 days to make that switch happen. Those direct debits have to be paid out before then. So if you're setting up new ones, you'll need to make sure they're ones that do pay out fast. I've got a whole video taking you through some of those cheap and fast direct debits to help you take advantage of switching offers just like this. So make sure you watch that one as well. You also, as with all of these, have to transfer the switch from a different bank account. You can't switch nationwide into nationwide. You have to switch from a different bank and close that account. That's going to be the same for all the ones we're talking about right now. And the other big one to know about with this nationwide deal is if you've had switching cash from the Building Society before, since August the 18th of 2021, you will not be able to get it again this time. The exception will be if you've had just a joint account before or just a solo account before, you're still eligible for that additional payment. But if you've already had solo and the joint payment before at a lower rate, you will not be able to get it this time. The next one I'll tell you about is a brand new one. This is from TSB. TSB very rarely does switching offers. In fact, when it has done them before, they've been very limited ones and not open to everybody. This is a similar deal actually. This one is running just between Money Saving Expert and Money Supermarket. They're the same organisation, the same group. They've got a special deal they've negotiated with TSB. This one is worth £125 if you switch over, but there's the potential to get another 55 quid added on top of that, depending on if you meet a few other criteria. One of the main ones, we'll talk about in a second, that means you have to stay with them until next summer of 2023. Now this one, you can be an existing customer with TSB if you want to, but you do have to open up a new TSB Spend and Save or Spend and Save Plus account by the 31st of October. And then you need to switch and do the other kind of bit criteria with that by the 18th of November. So you've got a few weeks to open it, and then you've got a few more weeks to make sure that switch is complete by that time. So you don't want to wait around for this one. You want to get moving on it. Now to get the switching off of that £125, you do have to use the debit card once. Relatively simple to do. Make a purchase, maybe even just topping a bit of money up on an Amazon account or sending money to a savings account, but again, using the debit card rather than a sort of bank transfer. You have to log it into the online banking as well. That will mean you are eligible for that £125, and that will be paid by the end of December this year. So you'll get that money in the next 2.5 months. If you want the extra 55 quid, there's more you have to do. And this is a little bit more convoluted, so you might not feel it's worth it, but you can automate a lot of this stuff. Make a note, maybe take you 5 minutes every month to make sure you do these things. You have to pay in £500 a month into the account between December and May. So in December, January, February, March, April, and May. So for 6 months, £500 must be paid into that account. Doesn't have to stay there. You can take it straight back out again. Doesn't have to be £500 in one go, come in and out, but that's what you have to do in order to big trigger there. You also have to keep using the debit card. You have to use that debit card 5 times in the month. Okay, that's more than before. Achievable, starts to get a little bit more sort of finicky, isn't it? But you also have to keep those 2 active direct debits going as well. So I can't remember if I mentioned that as part of the switch. You have to have 2 direct debits as part of the switch. You also need to have 2 direct debits, those same ones, carry on for those 6 months. Again, they can be relatively small ones. That video I mentioned before, check that out. They don't have to be a huge amount of money, £1 a month. But just remember, these are extra steps you have to go to stick with them. If you do all of that, every single month, those payments come out, the cards come out, the direct debits, the money comes in, then you will get that money in June of next year. So that's extra money. Now you can also, if you do more with your Spend and Save account, potentially get another 30 quid on top of that over those 6 months. That requires you to use the debit card 30 times a month. I think that's a bit too much of a faff, but read all those details over on becloveryourcash.com/bank. Remember, this one ends really soon on the 31st of October, so you haven't got long to actually apply for that account and start that switch by the 18th, finish that switch by the 18th of November. So I've got 3 more to tell you about, and I'll tell you about 2 at the same time here because they're effectively the same one. They're just slightly different cut-off dates. Natwest and RBS. You cannot get both of them. You've got to choose either or. But when you do, whichever one you do choose, it's the same current accounts, the same app. All the offers are exactly the same. It's just the name of the bank on your account will be different. This one is 175 quid. You can get this one as long as you've RBS start a switch by the 20th of October. 2022, and then pay in £1,250 by the 2nd of December of this year. You also need to have checked your online or app banking by that date. If you do all of that and keep your account open by the 29th of December, that is when you'll get your money, maybe before. With NatWest, the dates are slightly longer, so you can go a little bit later if you missed the RBS one. This one, you must start the switch by 5 p.m. on the 3rd of November 2022, and you must pay in the same amount, 1,250 quid, by the 16th of December. So again, you've got a couple of weeks more with this one. That one though, you have to keep the account open until the 12th of January 2023. Do that, you'll get the money by that date. Now what's important to note with both these offers, as I said, you can't get the money from both banks, it's just one bank, but if you've had switching cash from either of them since October 2017, then that does rule you out of getting the deal this time. Now the last one to tell you about is Lloyds, Club Lloyds account. It's the small amount of money, 150 quid, which is still pretty decent for what Lloyds have been doing, but the other banks have obviously really stepped it up and given a lot more money recently. This one is really, really fast for that bonus to be paid within 3 working days. So again, considering a switch can be done in 10 days, 7 working days, more or less, you could get this money in 2 weeks' time. You have to switch into a Club Lloyds or a Club Lloyds Platinum account. I would go for the Club Lloyds account here because it's free. As long as you're paying in £1,500 every single month, the £3 fee is wiped out. That money doesn't have to stay there. Again, a whole review looking at the Club Lloyds account, so check that out if you are interested. And you have to switch this one as before. That is it. There's no direct debits, no extra money coming in terms to get the actual switch itself. So it's quite an easy one to get. Just say make sure you follow the current terms and conditions for that Club Lloyds account. And by the way, that Club Lloyds account, it does have some freebies that come with it. Cinema tickets, movie rentals, you get to choose which one you want. Now there is an eligibility here if you've had the money from Lloyds before, but this one is much more recent. As long as you haven't had switching cash from them since April 2020, then you can get the money again. So that's only 2.5 years. So you may well be that if you haven't switched before that, there was an offer in 2019, you're able to get this cash for a second time. And it is open to existing as well as new customers. So they are your big switching deals. You might notice I've not spoken about Virgin or Santander. Those deals have both ended. They have finished. They may well come back. If they do, I will let you know on the blog and in my update for here next month. The only other offer that's still going, it hasn't changed its last time, is the First Direct one of £175. Again, watch my previous video update for info on that deal. Remember, all the information on all of these things, more details, becleveryourcash.com/banks. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave me a comment below. Let me know if this has been useful, and check out these videos right here to help you get the most out of your current account.